friends. Welcome to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey. Yeah, put a little stank on it today.
Disgusting.
I'm your host, Josh Griffey. I'll not be interrupted or kink shamed. Joined as always by my friend, co-host, and music video tough guy.
Oh, definitely Alex Tandino.
Before today's just banger of an episode, a little business. Everyone, we're on Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/FilmAlchemistPod. If you want to help support this show, you want to help us grow this show, that's where you do it. We offer awesome perks over there for all of our patrons and our amazing Patreon community. We have a huge Patreon exclusive library, ever growing. The patrons get a chance to help us author the show over there. They vote every month on what they want to hear. Those episodes go in there. You can even have us record a double feature you want. We got our Tales from the Crypt miniseries. We've got feature-length commentaries. We do a lot of work over there so that hopefully that is awesome and fun for you guys. And also it helps us keep this thing going, helps us reach more people, helps us make this show better and better. So help us, help you, help us. That's what we're asking. Please, God, please, God, please, please, please. All right.
Wow. That was intense.
I'm on it today. I'm excited today. The YouTube is Film Alchemist. Subscribe over there. The email, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. You can reach us over there. We're on almost all the socials you're on. There's a lot of them now. Reach out over there. Follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We appreciate it. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews everywhere you find podcasts. That helps us defeat the algorithm. We appreciate you there.
Yep. Yes, it does.
Another thing we want to do leading into October, which we'll talk about in a moment. Guys, if you have a movie-loving friend, just send them a direct message with an episode. We have over 500 to choose from now. So you should be able to find something that they're interested in over there. Let us take it from there. We'll figure it out. So yeah, that's it. That's all the business. Yeah. That's all the business. Except it's September 1st. We're in between curations because there's an extra Thursday this month. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to be talking about Nick Cassavetes' Alpha Dog. Different movie, but still sounds amazing. We kind of harmonize like that. Sometimes it's just great. But another thing we need to talk about, September means that the October Mega Marathon is nigh. If you're not a longtime Film Alchemist listener, this is our Super Bowl every year. When October hits, this podcast delivers a brand new episode every single day of the month. 31 days, 31 new podcasts. Every single day, you will have a horror movie to watch with us. We will announce the schedule soon, so again, follow on the socials so you can see all of the stuff we've got, all of our fun friends we're bringing along to talk about horror movies with us. I'll tell you this, get your chainsaws ready. Wink, wink, wink.
Ring, ding, 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 ding.
Ring, ding, 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 ding. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, so keep your notifications on. Get your watch list ready. Get ready for the October Mega Marathon. It is the greatest time of the year. Another good reason to go to patreon.com/FilmAlchemistPod. All right. Enough business. We are excited the October Mega Marathon is nigh. We've been doing a lot of work to get ready for it. Very excited.
Indeed.
But Alpha Dog.
It's just going to keep happening.
It's going to happen like 55 times. So if you don't like it, don't turn it off now, but just prepare yourself. Yeah. Gird thy ears for all of the Alpha Dogging. Alpha Dog. Let's see. So it's kind of real life Malibu's Most Wanted, right? Like if all of those Jamie Kennedy characters lived in a house together and worked out without their shirts on, put on the facade of a tough guy. There's this line, right, where they're at a party and they're watching a music video.
Yeah.
And Elvis, the little guy who's trying to get into the crew who's in trouble, he has this line, and it's kind of the thesis of the movie. He said, he looks at how fake this music video is, and he said, the only thing they've ever shot is that music video. This is the theme of the movie, right? People playing at a culture, right? A drug culture, a gangster culture, appropriating hip-hop culture. One of them actually comes from a crime family, but he wants to be a different kind of criminal, right? He wants to be something different and unique from his father. So it's a movie about people trying to figure out who they are versus what reality tells them they are. It has an incredible cast, and
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until we started talking this morning. Based on a real story, which makes perfect sense.
Based on a true story, yeah.
So, Alex, why did you pick Alpha Dog?
I love this movie. It's
a good movie. I'd never seen it before. This was my first time.
It is. So it's Nick Cassavetes' follow-up to The Notebook.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fucking funny.
Talk about your two personalities. On your Barbenheimer scale.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, like, I think Nick Cassavetes is a really fascinating director. Like, a lot of people know him as an actor because he's, like, probably most famously, he's, like, one of the fucking goons in Face Off. But
he's the main bad guy in the cars in the movie The Wraith with Chashin. Pretty awesome movie.
And, I mean, like, you know, he's a Cassavetes. Like, that's a big fucking deal in this business. I think what's fascinating to me is he really is like I like watching Nick Cassavetes movies because he really does let actors like just kind of roll with it. It feels like he doesn't do a lot of cutting, and he really does let actors just sort of inhabit the scene and move forward. Because to me, there's a lot about this movie that lends itself to the authenticity of the moment, not necessarily the plot, but plot's based on a true story. I actually work with a lot of the people who knew the Markowitz family, which is the family the Mazurskis are based on.
Oh, really?
So this happened actually. So in the movie, it takes place in the San Gabriel Valley. This actually happened out in like a Woodland Hills, West Hills area.
Yeah. Affluent neighborhoods, yeah.
And again, I love the character names, and shockingly, Johnny Truelove is so much less stupid than the guy's real life nickname. The real guy, and he was on America's Most Wanted list for I think like a decade or something like that.
Yeah, because he fled the country. Yeah,
Jesse James Hollywood, real name.
Yikes, that's a poor name. So
that
the
is
incredible
like
thing about this movie,
pretty shocking.
I actually just picked up the IMDb so we could look at the cast. So I didn't forget anyone because it's such a fucking
it's a fucking
cast.
who's who.
Emil Hirsch, Justin Timberlake, Anton Yelchin, which is fucking sad, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis.
Yep.
Let's see, we rolled down here.
Sharon Stone, Ben Foster,
Sean Hatzel, yeah, Ben Foster,
Sean
Harry Dean
Hattosi.
Stanton. Who else do we got?
Chris Marquette,
Olivia Wilde, Amanda Seyfried,
Vincent Kartheiser, Lucas Haas, Harry Dean Stanton.
It's insane.
Amber Heard, like it's nuts.
Baby Amber Heard. That's right. Yeah, we've got. I mean, this is a fucking stacked. And again, catching a lot of them right before they like crested up,
explode.
Yeah,
like, this was a big
time cast.
This was actually, I think, one of Justin Timberlake's first like forays into trying to.
This was in his. He did this. He did Just Time or In Time.
That was after The Social Network. This was like right
he was
before,
like running. He's like, I need some gritty.
This was
roles.
the run up to The Social Network.
I need to wipe the in-stank off myself.
Yeah, he didn't want any more in-stank, so he was very close. Like this was like the lead up to The Social Network.
Yeah.
But I mean, like to me,
he's good.
Again,
he's good.
I love him. I love Emil Hirsch. I think Emil Hirsch is just a fucking phenomenal actor. Yeah. That guy is a chameleon. Like you do not expect him to do a role like this, and he's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because he was like, he's like an indie
Foster,
guy.
dude. That guy is fucking flamethrower in this movie.
Ben Foster is one of these amazing actors who's like never really gotten his due, to be honest with you. He's just, because I think he's incredible. Yeah. He's incredible in Hell or High Water, The Program, all these movies he's done
30
later.
Days a Night. Like he's just fucking great in a ton of
He is a
stuff.
fucking powerhouse.
But the thing is I think he got lumped in with like he's a Disney kid trying to do it real, like Shia LaBeouf.
He's a Disney kid who got like tossed out into the woods.
Kind of edged him out as like the guy call.
Well,
and
he
so
was
he did
on
a lot of indies and stuff, but I love both of them as actors. Like maybe not as humans, but they're both incredible actors. Whatever the fuck, because it's kind of a movie where it's a bunch of people being pretty low key. They're like, you know what, we're just gonna like have chill vibes. With a lot of fucking racism and homophobia and misogyny.
A lot of low-key racism, homophobia, and misogyny.
That's like the acting they're doing. And then Ben Foster comes in and within 5 seconds is fucking he's throwing Emil Hirsch around like he's in a cage match with Mankind. Dude. And just never takes a breath. If this movie has one flaw, which I was like, that is a crime against cinema. is that at the end when everyone's like getting their fucking comeuppance, we never check back in with Ben Foster after his brother gets murdered.
I agree with you. That is
we missed a scene that would have been an all-timer, it feels. Like him getting the news that his brother died, whatever he's doing, I wanted that scene.
Yeah.
So, because even the scene with Sharon Stone where they put her in like that unfortunate
really bad fat suit. Yeah.
That scene of her talking about her son is amazing. I was like, I wanted Ben Foster's version of that.
I did too.
It's a crime against cinema. We didn't get that.
I do think it is like a massive flaw in this movie to not check back in. Not even to get like, because everybody gets their like postscript thing. And all those sentences, by the way, were accurate.
Yeah, his was just like, yeah, he owed a bunch of money, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? No, I want to see the end
but
of
like not getting another round, not turn like the last. And I don't know if maybe this is a Cassavetes choice because I thought about that too after watching this today. It's like, why don't we get another thing with Ben Foster? And I wonder if because like the last thing we ever see him with is that phone call that Johnny makes to the house. And I mean like, I mean, get on your motherfucking knees and pray.
But my favorite thing is he goes,
hello.
Hey, are you still there? Are you still listening to my awesome monologue?
Again, like, I think this is like Ben Foster's superpower too, is because he was a Disney kid and started as like a Shia LaBeouf comedian kid. When he does dramatic roles, his comedic timing factors so well into those dramatic moments. You're like, holy shit. Like that's that like Adam Sandler knob that he can turn on where it's like when you do a dramatic thing, your drama is so real. You can just like feel it in your guts. Like that
There's
is Ben
timing
Foster.
in comedy where you just know when to deliver the line.
Yeah.
That parlays into everything else, right?
And Ben Foster.
But he's so I think the thing is the reason maybe we don't check in with Ben Foster again is the end is this somber, like when we're watching that kid dead in the grave and the blood is slowly seeping out.
Yeah.
Everything after that is kind of this somber, we're on the run, like we got to be cool. Except for like Emile Hirsch and Olivia Wilde are screaming about impotence in a hotel. Like we can do one more. But it's kind of like we're supposed to be in mourning and like, wow, look at the tragedy of this. And if you bring Ben Foster back, I feel like he eats the ending to where that's all you're thinking about is just how cool he is. Not like as a human, but as an actor. And maybe it just kind of takes the focus off of what we just saw.
Yeah.
I would bet somewhere on the cutting room floor there is a scene of him fucking like demolishing a payphone somewhere. Or like trying to break an old Nokia phone, which was near impossible. It has to exist. But that was my one, because I like this movie, right? And it's the culture of it. I was immediately like, ugh, like Woodstock 99 vibes, right? Just shirtless little skinny guys in a garage.
A lot of Limp Bizkit, like a lot of Limp Bizkit vibes.
Yeah, they're kind of negging this guy, like, you go work, you do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was all right. They're these kind of like fake tough guys. All right, but then the movie does kind of congeal right on when Ben Foster and Emile Hirsch get in their fight.
Yeah.
And Emile Hirsch immediately pulls this gun out, right? And Ben Foster kind of does you have everyone fooled. I know who you are. Don't mess with me like I'm one of these little like
he's
lackeys.
the real deal.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a fucking full insane person.
Yeah.
And so the movie then becomes, and that's kind of when it locks in for me, right? Is it's this two guys that are essentially posers or at the bottom in this, like, we have to save face even though those faces aren't real, right? And that's when the movie really locks in, because there is this, I don't know about you, I don't know that the documentary thing helped me in this movie at all.
I'll tell you what, it's funny you bring that up, because that actually is the thing I noticed the most. And I love those framing devices. I actually think they work a lot of the time. I think
adding some procedural backbone can help out a lot.
I think the problem with Alpha Dog, and this is actually probably the big, other than the Ben Foster wraparound, which is more like a thematic thing, like I wanted more Ben Foster in general.
You can just say that about pretty much every movie for me. Just give me more Ben Foster.
I think the major crippling point to the movie, thematically and like structurally, is that the documentary portion is so loose. It's not an established format. Like you just have it's basically of the bookends of Bruce Willis doing the front and the back end of the
and
movie.
the scenes are good. Like you have great actors like kind of talking to the camera. Like
but the problem is
interesting.
Like it's not framed correctly, so it feels almost like an after the fact thing. Like, I'm not sure how to describe. I think that's how I describe it though. Is like it almost feels shoehorned in because it's not properly framed as like, oh, we're making a documentary about this crime. This is like the drama, like, and then you're watching like it really happened while everybody discusses it. Because like, okay, so at the very beginning,
Grandpa Griffey would have said it's putting tits on a bull.
That's a good way to put it. I mean,
it's there.
It's a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'd say is like a great example for me is right before Ben Foster's character gets fired from his telemarketing job, because that's a great scene.
Oh my god! I'll drag you to hell with me.
I'll drag you to hell.
They're kind of like wrestling out the dude.
And it's like clearly, it's like two guys, like this guy, like the guy who's running the joint clearly has been like to like hardcore prison, of course, because he's got the big fucking spiderweb tattoos and shit. And he's like, "You disappoint me," like the whole thing. But the scene that precedes it is a clip from like the documentary portion where they're interviewing that dude who is in Together. I'll never remember his name. I think his name's, hang on, I'm gonna look it up right now.
You mean the fucking cool guy from Napoleon Dynamite?
No, he was in the fake boy band Together.
Oh, but he was also like the cool guy in Napoleon Dynamite.
That wasn't him.
No?
No, it wasn't. No.
Yes, it was. The blonde guy in this movie is from Napoleon Dynamite.
That's not him, man. I promise
1,000%.
How much you want to bet it's not him?
All right. How much you got? Big bank, take little bank. Let's go.
Cool. I will bet you $100 that it's
all right.
not him.
Continue your point.
So the actor's name is Alex Solowitz, by the way. So he tells this story about why, like, basically it's supposed to set up why Ben Foster gets fired from his job. And the thing is, okay, so basically Johnny Truelove was trying to scam the insurance company for a stolen car that didn't actually get stolen. And Ben Foster like fucks it up. And I'm like, okay, that is the worst like criminal enterprise ever, is trying to scam the insurance company. It's like, it's so easy to scam insurance. Like, I can't believe you. And I'm like, okay. He's like, salts the whole deal. I'm like, all right, got it. Thanks, Capone. I guess we'll have to figure this out. But like, there's no precipitation for it other than just like, wait, you could have just said like, oh yeah, dude, they had bad blood since then. So, you know, Johnny Truelove just decided to fuck with him.
It is it's a thing, because this is the thing. This is not a movie I'm watching and for even a second I'm like, well, this will have a happy resolution.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a documentary wraparound on the Titanic that's like, hey, you know, we were feeling good. We just ate the Jell-O. It was really fun. Now things are going to get, you know, we started to have like an ominous, like, I know it's the fucking Titanic. There's like, not a moment of this film where you're like, these little posers are going to get to a place of fucking introspection and philosophical understanding.
I don't need an explanation as to why Johnny Truelove wanted to get Ben Foster fired from his cool job in telemarketing.
Right. Well, they do that, and it's like after that, it was on. Like, he was mad, and I'm like, just show me Ben Foster flamethrowing.
Just show me Ben Foster fucking doing crazy shit.
Give me one extra scene of Ben Foster in his house shitting on his carpet. Like, the face he's making as he shits on that carpet, and he's like, yeah. I mean, it's like, oh my god, just give me more of that. Like, that scene's great, right? That scene tells you everything you want. Emil Hirsch is hiding. Ben Foster's trying to get crazy. They lock eyes, but he still leaves because they don't really. They need each other to keep playing this fucking fictional game where they're like real gangsters, right?
Yeah.
And even though, and it pops off over so little. Because at the start, we see Emil Hirsch is just he's on Elvis's ass about owing him money.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, you suck my dick when I say you suck my, whatever the fuck he's doing, right? And him and Ben Foster, he's like, I have to get paid. It's almost like his dad taught him. He's like, there's one rule in this, and it's people have to pay. The difference is that Bruce Willis might have guys that show up like a Furio from Sopranos. If you don't fucking pay, this guy shows up and is a nightmare.
Yeah.
When you're Emil Hirsch and Justin Timberlake, and you say you have to pay all the time, and you're like, I wouldn't want the two of you to combine Voltron style into a 5'10" guy, and like, you know, who weighs 180 and try to whip my ass. And Ben Foster's just like, fucking bring it. And they start smashing each other through tables and windows.
Yep.
But I love that because Sharon Stone has, to me, the line of the movie, which is at the end, she's talking and she's in her unfortunate suit. I don't know why they made that choice. Baffling. But she's sitting there and she goes, in drug culture, they have their own rules, right? And we see that one of the rules is I have to get paid. This is his friend, a guy he knows is a fucking insane person. He could have walked away and just said, hey, you owe me more on the next one, right? We see that Ben Foster went to his house to beg for the money, so he's trying to make it right. So on some level, he's trying to abide the rules of the game, whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the movie, after all we've witnessed, Sharon Stone goes, they killed my son over $1,200.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that it really is the moment that kind of solidifies this. Because it's kind of this comedy of errors with like these fucking goofball,
it's like clearly
stoner
these guys are terrible
trying
at,
to be something they're not.
Terrible at like being criminals, and then like
they think
I agree.
they're
that
like,
is,
they even have like the Scarface poster in Emil Hirsch's room.
I mean, like that's the really sobering line,
it's
though.
all facade, and then now it's like, oh my god, the consequences of their game.
Holy shit, $1,200! Like that's such an easy payout. Like like my god. What the hell?
Well, and Sharon Stone at one point, she's like, you owe someone money? How much? I'll write the check right now.
Yeah.
And Ben Foster's like, no, we're in this like samurai duel. I can't pay now. And it is like at the end when it solidifies how little money it is. You're like, so all of these kids that grew up rich, who have parents with rich houses and tennis instructors and nice cars, the richness gave them a shield with which to play these games. Right? The richness gave them the rope to fucking invent these characters and try to pretend that they're these cool, awesome street guys because that makes them feel better than being coddled little rich white kids, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the consequence of all of that, right? That no one fucking stepped up, that none of the parents were willing to stop their behavior, right? That, Bruce Willis, when he's playing softball says, well, it's all on you now, right? Telling his son, like, you work for me to make money, but also, you're like a convenient person to take the fall if something goes down.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's bad parenting, it's ego, it's delusion, it's appropriation. You just see all of these things, and you're like, the consequence is we watch this ultra lovable kid.
Yeah. And Anton Yelchin is like
amazing.
He's the whole time trying.
He was such a fucking gift of an actor. This is to me like some of the really great actors. And it's not really something you can even teach. But how much can you fucking engage that kind of empathy warp bridge with an audience? And he was just an actor who never struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what character, like if he's playing like a grungy guy in like Green Room, right? Whatever he was playing, you immediately were pulled so deep into his chest.
That
it makes every movie more engaging. Like he had that thing, man. He had that amazing gift.
He was wonderful, and like he's really young in this too. Like this is
baby,
probably one of his first movies. To be honest with you, like they
say in the movie he's 15, and I was like, he looks 12, so like it could be whatever.
I mean, I was like, when he say he's 15, I'm like, got to be younger. There's no way Anton Yelchin was 15 at this point. I mean, he looks like he has like baby teeth still.
Yeah,
but like he's so wonderful and so just like accommodating to these people who literally like threw him in a van and beat the shit out of him, and then he's like, let's just hang out, I'll drink a beer. Like
he likes it, right? He likes it. He's part like when they keep calling him, the girls are like, oh my god, you're the kidnapper. He's like, and they
stolen boy.
They call him stolen boy, and you see him like, oh my god, I like this, I'll smoke joint. At one point we see him just gardening for Justin Timberlake. He's like,
he's just clipping
his dad's
weed,
a weed
clipping
farmer,
weed buds,
and he's just gardening, he's working, and then he's meeting girls and he's excited and happy. And that scene in the van when they're driving him up to the shallow grave, and he's just like, oh, never telling you, we're boys. Like, he thinks he's finding, like, people. Like, he feels suppressed by his mother's love and his father's apathy.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's out in the world. He wants to be like Ben Foster, but he's not. He's like a sweet guy. And so he becomes this marker in time where we see probably what all of these characters were at one time.
Yeah.
Like a nice, sweet kid who's trying to fucking play a role. And we see like that's what they were, and these are the little fucking monsters they've become post-haste.
Well, I think what's interesting too about like the level of this is another part of that the documentary thing that like almost works but doesn't quite, because like every time a new character is introduced, they stop the frame and hit like witness number 12.
The lower thirds, yeah, witness. Because I was kind of, but again, it's like I know it's gonna go so bad. I didn't know it was based on a real story. It wasn't a famous enough thing that like I knew. It's not like I'm watching like OJ Dogs. You know what I mean?
No.
Where like I know about the crime. It's like saturated.
No, I mean, it was not. It was. I mean, other than Jesse James Hollywood being on the America's Most Wanted list, there's nothing about this that was
right.
So
if you
widely
asked me
reported.
right now who's on the America's Most Wanted list, I was like, I don't know.
Couldn't fucking tell
that
you.
list needs to be places where people see it. I have no idea.
I mean,
Not like I'm
I don't
gonna
go to
catch
the, I don't go
someone
to
at
the
a
po-
fucking Best
I don't go
Buy,
to the
but-
post office enough. There's always I think it's that Jerry Seinfeld joke. I can't remember who makes that joke when they used to hang it in the post office, and when you were in line at the post office, you just be like, well, I don't see him in here, so I'm good.
Well, yeah, he had that bit. He's like, when you took their picture, you should have just held on to them. When you got that picture, you should have held them right there. Yeah, I live my life to never go into a post office or bank that I don't have to.
Yeah, I'm just like,
So I don't see any of this shit.
that's what I'm gonna do.
But that's what I mean. So it is kind of, I guess it works like, this is a fucking stretch, but the Seventh Seal, right? The Ingmar Bergman movie. When it's Death in the Night playing chess.
Oh my God, Cassavetes just woke up with a huge erection. It is like 6 o'clock in Los Angeles, and he's like, someone just compare me to fucking Ingmar Bergman?
Pull
Like,
it back, pull it back. I'm saying on a structural level, we all understand that he's going to die in that movie. We understand, and it's the fucking film that launched 20,000 student films that involve chess, including one by your old pal Griff, because it's just such a known symbol now, right?
Yeah.
We don't need a Spectre in this movie. We know it's going to go bad in every second.
We know what's happening.
Reminding us that there are witnesses. The times it works is when we see them happy. Like when the young teenage girls come over and he's like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm this young blood. And then we see that they're all listed as witnesses.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it becomes this Damocles sword, I guess, in a way, right? It's hanging over the movie in a way. But the moment we see Bruce Willis at the start, we know it's not good.
Yeah.
We know.
I mean, like,
but I don't know. I mean,
I think this
the
is what's
documentary
interesting
stuff
about
didn't bother me. It felt.
it doesn't
I think
bother
you said
me.
it right. It's just kind of tacked in.
It doesn't bother me at all. I just wish there was more of it, and it was given more of a part of the tonality of the movie. Like, that's the thing. It's either not in there at all, or it needs to actually be the framing device for the movie.
When it comes back, you almost forget that they're doing it, and you're like, wait, what? So it pulls you out.
So like
for
we
half a
see this
second.
like powerhouse like Ender performance from Sharon Stone, and then
Oh my god, I love that scene.
and we get this wraparound. We get this wraparound with fucking this wraparound with Bruce Willis, where you're just like, yeah, I get it, man. This guy's gonna keep selling drugs and being a scumbag. Like, thank you for telling me what I already knew about this guy. Like, there's like, I like it even starts off like, first off, from just like a documentary perspective, this is another thing that this is the thing I find very hard to wrap my head around, just because I do work in this space, like professionally. Getting Sonny Truelove, Bruce Willis's character, in the chair and to sit down and do an interview about his drug dealing son who's on the run.
Yeah,
like,
who he knows is on the lam.
who he knows is on the lam. Impossible. Would never happen in real life. Not a
and
chance.
then Grandpa's just walking around. He was at my house, but I made
He
a
was in the
tuna fish
house.
sandwich. Who
I
knows?
was
It's like,
down, and he's
all
gone.
right.
I'm like, all right,
I
Harry
might
Dean
have
Stanton.
believed you, but now you're laying it on pretty thick, fella.
I'm like, are you just being a dick on purpose? Is that what's going on? You're just like,
Yeah.
come on, dude.
That's 1,000% what's happening. It's
Like,
like just
I
stop
think-
being a cockerel.
I think that's like if there was going to be an inherent flaw to that like framing of the movie, it's that you're like, there's no way Sonny Truelove would sit down with a documentary crew and be like, I don't know where he is. You're a fucking jerk off. Get out of my house. I'm like,
Sorry, bro.
all right. Thank
Sorry,
you.
bro.
all right, cool. Thank you for lighting up a P-funk in the middle of this interview. And now we go. Like, I'm like, come
You ever just taste a parliament and it just tastes right? It just tastes like freedom. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I mean, and it's fine. Again, it's a really good performance. Like fucking Bruce Will. It is sad. It is sad that Bruce Willis is sick and something bad is happening to him that he can't like process, because he really was a phenomenal actor. Like he does a really great job in this movie. But again, it's also one of those things where I was like, I don't understand why this device isn't used. Like, every scene, like every act of the movie should have been punctuated by like a larger interview with like for instance, when they do those wraparounds at the end with the lower thirds about like what happened, there's a shot of Sean Hatosy at San Quentin smoking a cigarette in the yard. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, okay, so clearly did we, this is the thing that I'm just like, there was an interview with him that we just never got, because very clearly there's this wraparound. And it's not like they said, hey, Sean, why don't you come out here? We'll pay you rate for one whole day. All you have to do is sit, look at the camera, and sit, and like, you know.
Yeah, we're going to get a prison location for one.
We'll shoot you close. Just shave a goatee, and we'll do that.
The reason that they interview the parents and not the kids is because I think the whole movie's about whose perspective it is, right? And I think you can't have the kids telling their side from within the fight, right? We're painting this kind of comical picture of them. So I think keeping it all outsider perspective, right? So whether it's blonde guy, whether it's girlfriend, whether, you know, the waitress that they're really shitty to, and he doesn't pay the tab and he scribbles like, you know, tell your boyfriend, whatever. So all the people who are interviewed are outsiders of the game, talking about them, you know, well, that's not who I know, blah, blah,
and
blah.
that's important. I agree. That's a valuable aspect of the movie itself, is like everyone has a different perspective of what was going on. I think what's interesting, and I think is like, you brought it up really briefly, which is like Cassavetes' indictment of the parents. Like there is no, like all these people are between like 15 and 20 years old. Nobody is like a full adult in this movie. Yeah. Except for the adults. And all of the parents are so psychologically traumatizing to their children. Like, so Justin Timberlake's dad is like, he comes home and he's just
growing weed and having threesomes
with like girls who are barely legal. You're like, cool, that guy definitely is a piece of shit.
Girls Gone Wild producer vibes, yes.
The one girl who like has a fucking meltdown, his like girlfriend or whatever, she's like, Mom, I need to talk to you. And she's like, honey, I'm about to blow your father. I do not want to talk to you.
I have
like,
one day a year to make love to your father. And I was like, well, that is the saddest thing in the movie. That's the saddest.
Like, there it is right there. There's another movie right there.
Yeah, she's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. But you're just like, okay.
I already have dilated orifice. Get the fuck out of here.
I've already put MDMA in his butthole. I have got to do this. Like, it's...
Your father's not going to peg himself, dear. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, we are sounding tonight. I do not want to have you around for that.
Oh, like, God.
Like, it's just one of those things.
That's the interview I want to see. That's the cutting room floor I want to see.
But, like, that, I think, is the big part of the movie, is this, like, idea of alpha dog, which, you know, it's like, we all know that it's not Johnny Truelove, but we also know that it's not Ben Foster. We don't really give a shit who the alpha dog is, because at the end of the day, there was a loss of life, and it was because nobody was sitting around watching. Like, only until the end is everyone understanding the consequences of their actions.
The alpha dog in this movie is crushing reality.
Yeah, reality.
Yeah, it's like you cannot just fucking buy a Scarface poster and be that guy, right? And even if you think about the movie Scarface, he's king of the world for but a brief window, and then he becomes Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
Like, so they're not taking the lessons of the movie the right way, right? They're like, oh, the cool cocaine hot tub, I love that. And it's like, but watch like another 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Well, crushing reality is the alpha dog.
Well, like, that's the thing that I think is the most interesting part, is finally when, like, so after they've executed this kid, they have that scene where...
That's an insane scene. Not only are they doing these, like, terrible, like, green screen backgrounds.
Nuts. Yeah, it's really bad, like, day for night.
The punctuation of when he actually pulls that trigger...
Jesus Christ!
I felt like I got punched. I was like, "Oh!" Yeah, I hadn't seen the movie yet.
It happens so brutally and so fast. You're like, "Holy shit!" And the lead up is so intense.
I thought they were setting me up for a switch around, right? That they weren't going to do it, even though Elvis was pretty gung ho. He was going to call it off, and then Ben Foster was going to roll up and fucking take out Bruce Willis, Harry Dean Stanton, and Emil Hirsch. I thought that's what was coming.
Well,
so when they actually,
instead,
because I was like, they can't, because he's that scene where Anton is crying,
yeah,
and Justin Timberlake's just like, "I'm your boy. I would never
you're a
hurt
boy,
you,
man. I would never hurt
and
you."
you hear
You're
the
like,
sound of
dude.
the tape, and he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "I have to put some on your mouth, but I'm your boy. I would never." Okay, and you watch, and he's like started to lose it. He kind of knows what's happening, and that fucking shovel hits, and it's like, you're like, no, and when that. Like, it was a gut punch. Like, it's a
terrible.
beautiful example of punctuating, popping that balloon when the tension gets to, like, an unmanageable level. Mm-hmm. Amazing scene. I couldn't fucking believe it.
And then you go to, the True Love house, and the lawyer's there. He goes, "Listen, this is what needs to happen." And they're like, "Where's the kid?" He's like, "What kid? What are you talking about?" And it's like, these are the guys who actually. These
guys have done this before.
These are the alpha dogs. Like, these are the dudes who are like, I have been in trouble like this. This is how you solve it. He's like, listen, you'll maybe do a year. He goes, no, fuck that. No prison. And it's like, oh shit, this guy is not in control of this situation at all. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's reverting back to a little baby.
He can say that in that room. Again, this is what happens when you're a piece of shit parent and you let your children just become delusional like this. Yeah. When you think that money will raise your children and you can just keep playing tennis and doing whatever, right? Or like Bruce Willis, it's like, I'll set you up as a weed dealer, but not give you the infrastructure. Like, not put in like an office manager, right? No. To watch you and fucking show you this is how we do it. You're throwing your kids to crushing reality. Money cannot protect you from all of that.
Yeah.
Right? The money can protect you in the courts. It can protect you, out in the markets. It cannot protect you when someone fucking who's in a, down and out state hits you in the fucking head with a shovel and shoots your kid.
Yeah. I mean,
your dollars don't do anything at that point. And it's a moment, because Sharon Stone is showed as, she's a loving mother. Even he's like, my mom is pretty awesome, but she's also intense.
She's intense. She doesn't know how to listen to her children.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
it's like she's not a bad mom.
No, like her and then the dude who plays the father, the guy Butch, like, they're not bad parents, but like he's maybe a little. I think he's a little resigned to the fact that like, oh, my one son's a neo-Nazi, that's not great, and then my other one is like
swinging a miss on that one.
So it's like, okay,
the line judge called that one out, and I'm not going to yell at him. I'm not going to McEnroe him.
But like the parenting, again, it does boil down. It's funny. Like, I think, is it Bruce Willis who says it? He's like, this boils down to parenting. It's like, fuck, dude. The worst parent in this fucking movie is actually the one who says the right thing.
Yeah. You raise your kid, I'll raise mine. And I'm like, well, yours is murdering people, which makes it harder for me to raise mine, right? Yeah. Yours is murdering people, and mine is raising daisies. You have messed up the equation for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pretty curious thing. Like, I think that's, but I mean, again, the movie does a very good job of, I think you're right though. It does a very good job of shifting perspectives and seeing it from a lot of different angles. But you realize, like, at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, at the end of the day, they murdered this kid because he, would have told on them? Like, that's really what it boils down to.
Because they didn't want to do life in prison.
They made a terrible decision for kidnapping someone.
They thought just the kidnapping would be life in prison. Even though essentially they just partied with the kid.
Yeah.
Because even though they're hard and tough guys now, they keep just going from party to party.
And like,
just kind of further illustrating that they don't understand what's going on.
I don't know, like, the reality of it, because like they do a good job of painting Justin Timberlake's character as like really reluctant to be anything more than just basically smoking weed and partying with, partying.
He's playing the role.
He's
having fun.
Yeah, he even like said, "What if I gave you
Johnny True Love?" He's that guy.
Right. Well, he even says like, "What if I gave you money and you just got on a bus and I said I lost you?" And Anton Yelchin's character's like, "I don't want to make any more trouble for my brother." And it's like, dude, that's where you say it's not going to be a problem. I will handle it. Yeah. But he doesn't. And that's like this. That's the cardinal sin. Like that's why like at the end you see like, oh well, he has to go to jail. He has to pay, not just because he was obviously present for the murder, but because he had the opportunity and he didn't take it to do the actual right thing.
He's the one character, because Elvis is resigned robot style. He knows this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
He knows this is not something they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one character that we see in excruciating moments of the film have like 20 chances to not do it. Yeah. He doesn't have to tape the kid up. He can let the kid run away. When he opens the van in the desert and he sees those hikers, he could say, hey, could you take my friend home?
Yeah, he could like...
Yeah, he's lost. We need to find a phone.
There are witnesses right there who could like beat the shit out of Sean Hatosi and be like, take him home. Like,
yeah,
I'll
he's
take
at the
this.
Party with him. He's at his house with him. He's farming with him.
So many chances.
He goes to his other buddy's apartment, right? And he's like, hey, sorry. He takes him into the back room. He could have shut it down there. He just didn't want to face Johnny Truelove because he is implicit in helping author this version of Johnny Truelove. Yeah. He's like a tough criminal you don't want to be on the wrong side of. You know, because of the looming specter of Sonny Truelove. And it's like...
I also wouldn't want to be... Well, that's what Sean Hatosi says. He's like, dude, do you want to be... You know, you don't want to be in Sonny Truelove's crosshairs. That's even worse. Yeah. And you also don't want to be in the crosshairs...
He's an actual gangster. These are not the same things.
Yeah. Like, you also don't want to be in, you know, Ben Foster is a neo-Nazi and a crazy person. So do you want to, like, you either look over your shoulder for that guy...
There's one crosshairs I want to dodge like the plague. It's Ben Foster. I don't want him running out of nowhere and hitting me with a fucking crescent kick at 7-Eleven.
I gotta tell you, there is those once. So after he finds out the kidnapping happened, he goes to that party and just fucking rocks like
karateing
5 people.
Everyone. Yeah,
that was so like that is one of those things.
We find out later that they're rich kids, so they're both black belts in Taekwondo.
Yeah. So you're like, okay,
at one point they're fighting and like they don't address it. And the first fight's kind of a normal like two guys grappling each other and wrestling and not really knowing what they're doing. The next time we see him in a fight, it's like, did he just hit a fucking Van Damme crescent kick?
Yeah.
Like a spinning wheel kick right to the dome. Just wrecks this guy.
Well, it's like
punches
that guy.
Ladies in the face. Like he's going insane.
Some girl walks like, hey, you can't do that. And he just straight up clocks her. I'm like,
and it's like, what the fuck is happening? This movie went off the rails fast. And then, later Anton Yelchin's like, yeah, we're masters of karate. I was like, oh, okay. That's a weird, like, recontextualizing what I saw earlier. But yeah. I thought we were just leaving it that in his drug-fueled state, he was fucking able to do high-level karate and taekwondo.
I was like, did he just like...
That scene is that's the second moment in the movie I went, what? Like, the shooting in that were, like, truly unexpected moments for me.
Yeah. But then, like, again, Ben Foster
this is again karate.
Ben Foster wrecks with karate, and the scene ends with goes, if anybody sees Johnny Truelove, let him know I'm looking for him.
Yeah, I'm like, looking for him. I'm going to go back and bang my girlfriend and aggressively grab her face. Like,
next to a poster of the marching Nazis, like, hot.
But he's Jewish, right?
Yeah, that's like, I don't understand that at all. I
was a little confused by that, too.
Apparently that is a thing. I don't know what it is, personally.
There are Jewish neo-Nazis?
I believe so. I don't know. I guess
you learn something new every day.
In this movie, there are like he has Hebrew tattooed on his chest, and yet
he has also, the like collar tattoo.
Yeah, honestly, man, I don't know. Like it was very confusing to me when I saw it. I was like, huh.
Maybe that's his source of rage. That's what he's fighting against every day.
What?
That's bizarre. I've never heard of a Jewish sect of Nazis.
Isn't that a Ryan Gosling movie, The Believer? Isn't he supposed to be a Jewish kid?
I've only seen Apt Pupil. I don't know about The Believer, but
okay. I don't know. I have honestly, I have no fucking idea.
It's kind of sprinkled in there. So yeah, I didn't really think about it very much.
There's a lot of cultural context that are sprinkled in that absolutely have no like they don't bring it up against like.
Well,
everyone's
he definitely has a big dog named Adolf.
Yeah.
So there's some of that going on.
So everyone's a little racist. Everyone's a little anti-Semitic. Everyone's,
homophobic,
sort of just homophobic,
misogynistic.
It's early 2000s.
They're really embracing the toxic masculine culture of that era.
Of Woodstock
that was
99.
Woodstock 99.
Yeah, it was basically Woodstock 99 left Woodstock, New York, and like came back to Claremont, California. Like that's.
Yeah, it's like wherever that was in Woodstock, right? There was a little beer bong funnel that was made out of a fucking, cloned flesh from Kid Rock.
Yep.
And it fucking fecaled out right here in this fucking Southern California burb. And that's what we're watching.
But I mean, overall, it is just like this really well-crafted narrative about just not just the subjectivity of what you're seeing, but also like at the end of the day, everyone is technically a culprit in this, like for not letting this kid go. Like that's really what it is, like this indictment of like everyone knew what the right thing to do was and they didn't do it.
It's a movie about telling stories, which I think is really interesting. It's not like a meta movie about making, but it's about storytelling and the characters we create. And what the movie really is that we don't think that it's a problem when it's rich white kids behaving this way.
Yeah.
Because they'll figure it out. They're rich and white. Their parents have done good. They'll be all right. And so we don't engage with movies about this kind of, criminal underground, in the same way if they're rich white kids. It feels safer because we know that they're just posers.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a line when reality steps in and someone gets fucking shot and things start going too far where you can't stop the fucking exit velocity of this fictional craft that they've made. And it is, the movie meanders, right? Like, we do this thing where, like, it's like, yes, we get it. He's a lucky hostage. He's getting threesomes and, like, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
It meanders at parties. It meanders with them, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But it's not something that hurts the film. It helps us have time to sit and be like, get him home. Get him home. The answer is obvious. Stop your game.
Stop what you're doing.
Get a job, right? Like, it's our chance to sit there and be like, this is so easy. So we start getting anxiety.
Stop what you're doing. Go work at Enterprise, rent a car.
A great movie. A fucking great, amazing cast. And again, they killed my son over $1,200.
Yeah.
True story. And it's brutal. It's a really... This is a great movie. Like, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. That's it for Alpha Dog.
Alpha Dog.
See, we stopped doing it for a little while, but we're back, bitch. That's what we do. We find a joke and we fucking beat it relentlessly with shovels. All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. This month, 5-year anniversary curation. Or no, we did that last month, but it is our 5-year anniversary. The pod is going to get wet. The pod is going to get wet. We're doing aquatic horror, aquatic nightmares, aquatic adventures. Water adjacent or beneath movies. So it's a really fun curation. We hope you guys have fun. This is the build-up as well to the October Mega Marathon. Oil your chainsaws. Polish your chrome death orbs. Check in on what your favorite scary movie is. Get ready for the October Mega Marathon. 31 days, 31 pods. Within the next week or two, we're going to be dropping all the details of the lineup on social media as soon as we can and have it locked in. We're going to get that information to you. If you want that information the fastest and you want to stay most abreast of what we're working on, go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Please help us grow and support the show. Also, it's the best way to have all the details and get what you want specifically out of the show. Please and thank you. The YouTube Film Alchemist, the email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews. Make sure you're sharing everything on social media. Make sure you reach out to a movie-loving friend and let them know what we're up to over here, and we'll take it from there. All right, we'll be back next week getting wet, soaking wet.